Hey boys and girls, welcome back to Stories with Sally. I am so happy to be here and I'm excited about another read aloud this week. A few things before we begin. I just want to give you a little hint about what the book is going to be about. Now, I want you to think about that. And I want you to think about pirates. And I have to be honest about something. I don't make the best pirate sounds. I've tried, but they're just not really good. But my nephew loves pirates, and so I asked him to help me figure out how to sound like a pirate. So I'm going to let you hear what he sent me. It is great, and it sounds just like a pirate. Okay, listen up.
Arr, arr.
Okay, so there you go. Now, I want you to practice at home. Practice right now your best pirate sound. Now, in the book, in this story, there are some times when I need you to help me make a pirate sound, the arg pirate sound. So every time I hold up this shovel, I want you to make the pirate sound at home. Okay? Now, let's talk about the title of the story. The title of the story this week is How I Became a Pirate. The author, remember last week we talked about how the author is the person who writes the story. The author is Melinda Long. It says it right there. And the illustrator is David Shannon. And the illustrator, remember, is the person who does the pictures. The other thing I want to talk about this week, I'm going to introduce you something, and you may be familiar with this, but I'm going to introduce you to something a little bit new. So, when you think about books that you read, I want you to think about two different types of books. We have fiction and nonfiction. When you think about fiction books, I want you to remember fiction, fake. Because fiction books are not real. They're make-believe. Now, some types of fiction books could happen, but they didn't actually happen. And some types of fiction books we know couldn't happen. Like last week when I read Strega Nona and there was a magic pasta pot. We know that that's make-believe. So we know that that book was also fiction. Non-fiction books, I want you to remember, not fake, are books that are real. They give us real facts and great information about topics. It might be a book about someone's life, but non-fiction books tell us things that actually happened. And they give us information and knowledge about real things. Okay, well, let's begin the read aloud. How I Became a Pirate. Pirates have green teeth when they have teeth at all. I know about pirates because one day, when I was at the beach building a sandcastle and minding my own business, a pirate ship sailed into view. I knew what it was because its flag had a skull and crossbones on it, and because I could hear the pirates singing, "Hey ho, blow the man down." They were a little off key. I tried to tell Dad, but he was busy setting up the beach umbrella. I tried to tell Mom, but she was busy slathering my baby sister with sunblock. So I went back to my sandcastle, but I kept an eye on the pirates. By then, they were rowing to shore. When they landed, the head pirate climbed out of the boat and yelled, Ahoy there, matey! Be this the Spanish Main? No, I said. This is North Beach. Shiver me timbers, the pirate said. We must have taken a wrong turn at Bora Bora. He walked around my sandcastle. He looked at the moat, then yelled back to his crew. He's a digger. He is, and a good one to boot. A good one to boot, the others agreed. What be your name, matey? The head pirate asked. Jeremy Jacob, sir, I told him. Well, Jeremy Jacob, he said, you're looking at Braidbeard and his crew. We've been needing a digger like yourself. We've got a chest of treasure to bury. Hey, treasure, the other shouted. You're coming with us, Braidbeard told me. I didn't think Mom and Dad would mind, as long as I got back in time for soccer practice the next day. That's how I became a pirate. As soon as we were on board, Braidbeard showed me the chest of gold and jewels. Got to find a safe place for this here treasure. It's high time we were off, he announced. We're off, we all shouted. And then we set sail. There was plenty to do on board. The pirates taught me to sing sea chanties. The louder, the better. And to say real pirate stuff like landlubber and scurvy dog. By dinner time, I could speak pirate perfectly. I also learned pirate manners. Braidbeard pounded his fist on the table and yelled, Down the hatch, me laddies! Down the hatch! We all shouted. Braidbeard gulped his food and said, Hand over the meat! The meat! We all roared. Nobody told us to finish our spinach. There wasn't any. Or to chew up our carrots. They weren't allowed on board. We talked with our mouths full, and nobody said please or thank you. After dinner, I tried to teach the pirates to play soccer. Braidbeard kicked the ball and yelled, Arg! Soccer! Arg! Soccer! We all shouted. Then everybody dove for the ball at once, and it rolled right off the deck. After it, me hearties, Braidbeard commanded. After it, we all whispered. We fought over who would go get the ball, but it didn't matter anyway, because a shark came along and swallowed it in one gulp. So much for soccer. By now, it was past my bedtime, but nobody tells pirates to go to bed, to take a bath, or to brush their teeth. Maybe that's why their teeth are green. Pirates sleep with one eye open, just in case. And they don't change into pajamas unless they want to. Pirates don't do anything they don't want to, except for maybe swabbing the decks. I wanted to be a pirate forever. But then I found out what else they don't do. When I couldn't stay awake any longer, I asked Braidbeard to tuck me in and read me a story. Tuck you in? He bellowed. Pirates don't tuck. No tucking, the crew cried. And the only thing they had to read was a map. Don't you have any books? I asked. Braidbeard looked confused. Books? I didn't even bother to ask about a goodnight kiss. It wasn't easy to fall asleep without a story, but I was finally dozing off when a storm broke. Thunder boomed and lightning flashed. I tried to hide under the covers as waves slammed up against the ship, but I kept falling out of my hammock. I couldn't find anyone in the cabin. They were all on deck. Lower the sails, Braidbeard shouted. Batten down the hatches. Everybody ran around, yelling and lowering and battening. Nobody had time to sit close and tell me it would be over soon. Nobody even noticed me. I decided that I didn't want to be a pirate after all. Just then, flash, crash, crack! Lightning hit the mast and split it right down the middle. What'll we do now? Yelled one of the pirates. We'll have to turn back, called another. But the treasure, hollered Braidbeard. Where will we bury the treasure? I stepped forward. Maybe I can help, I shouted over the wind. I think I know the perfect digging spot. When the storm was over, we rowed back to shore and buried the chest. We drew a map so we could find the treasure again. But I don't think I'll need it. After that, the pirates repaired the ship and got ready to set sail. Before they left, Braidbeard handed me a flag and said, You make a fine pirate, Jeremy Jacob. Guard that treasure well. We'll be back to get it soon enough. Soon enough, the crew repeated. And if you ever need us, Braidbeard added, just run the Jolly Roger up yonder pole. Up yonder pole, the others shouted. And maybe I will, but not today. I have soccer practice. And that is the end of how I became a pirate. Now, so we've talked about, at the beginning, I talked to you about fiction and nonfiction. And I'm going to show you a couple more examples of fiction and a couple examples of nonfiction books. So last week, if you tuned in last week, you heard Straganona. We talked about how that's a fiction story. It's not real. It didn't actually happen. And this story, How I Became a Pirate, is also fiction. Let me show you some more examples. One more example. Okay, this is one of my favorites, Click, Clack, Moo, Cows That Type. And in this story, the animals talk and they type and they do things that people do. So we know that this is a fiction story. It's fake, it's not real. This is one of my favorites. I love this story. I might read it one day for one of my read alouds. But then we have this wonderful, wonderful book. This is called P is for Palmetto, and it goes through the entire alphabet, and it gives us interesting facts about South Carolina, about the state that I live in, and it gives us true facts. So this is a non-fiction book. It's not fake. It gives us real information. Now, the takeaway that I have for you, if you'd like to participate, is go in your house and try to find maybe 4, 6, 8 books and separate the books into a pile of fiction and a pile of nonfiction. And think about, when you're doing this, think about to yourself, okay, fiction is not real, it's make-believe, and nonfiction is real. And I hope you enjoyed tuning in to Stories with Sally. I can't wait to see you again next week. Bye-bye.